Now, we're going to break down the elements here. The headline first. The headline has one job. It has to get read. That's the main thing. So the headline, in order to get read, it needs to stand out and appear different from the rest of the copy that's on the page. And that, whether it's an ad, whether it's a banner, whether it is the sales page, whether it is your squeeze page, the headline has to stand out and show that it is separate from the rest of the copy so that it gets their attention. It needs to be possibly a larger font size, a different color than the body copy, definitely. I will interject something here that I have found in my experiences. You will see a lot of people use a very bright red color for their headlines. And I'm not saying that you can never do that. It does draw attention. You want to be careful when you're using that color, though, with other things like the call to action. Because inherently in the human mind, we have red as a symbol of stopping. So whenever we see that add to cart button and it's red, at least if it's a bright red, sometimes I do play with a darker shade of red. And I will do, experiments just to do testing. But a lot of times if it's a bright red, it will subconsciously cause that individual to stop for a second. And that's what we don't want to do. We want to actually use colors that promote the flow. Blues are really nice. Greens, of course, are really nice. Something that it needs to stand out, but it needs to not cause that psychological stopping. The headline, though, if it's at the top of your sales copy, it is okay to use red there because you do want them to stop. So it's going to grab their attention and cause them to read it, and that's exactly what we want to do, is get their attention. Aside from ensuring that the headline gets read, the actual job of the headline is to sell the body copy. So very, very important point here. It is not the job of the headline to sell the product. You want to put something in the headline that compels the reader to start reading the body copy. It at least gives them a reason to continue. Very, very important. The first 15 words that your reader reads is more important than the next 15,000 words. Because if they don't read those first 15 words and it doesn't compel them to read the copy, then it really doesn't matter what the rest of your copy says. No matter how long, no matter how detailed, no matter how good it is, if they don't feel that urgency to read it, it's not going to do anything. You need to fascinate their imagination with your headlines. Play several songs on the guitar within a week. That is pretty lame, right? It's helpful, but it's boring. Play several songs on the guitar within a week. It doesn't, it doesn't create any kind of shock or awe. Now, you don't want to lie, but you just want to rewrite it in such a way that it's more appealing, that it has a greater draw, that it has a stronger impact. That same thing, that's this same product that says play several songs on the guitar within a week. It's truthful. That's exactly what the product is offering. But if we reword it like this, learn how to rip through these over-the-top guitar solos in just 7 days. Now, do you see the difference there? We haven't related the whole story. That's definitely something that you don't want to do. You want to give them like a teaser. They don't know what the songs are. They definitely don't know how they're going to do this. But you've related the same information to them. They are going to learn to play several songs on the guitar within a week. But this, the way that it's, the wording, the type of words that are used, play several songs has been turned into rip through these over-the-top guitar solos. We're hitting on the emotional part of this, which is, if you don't know anything about guitars and playing guitar, then you won't know this, but I'm appealing to guitarists here. So they want to rip through these guitar solos. A lot of times the part about the music, the guitar music that people want to learn is the solo. So we're hitting right on that, and we're wording it in such a way that it has power, that it has force. Another one, man admitted to hospital for finger bleeding guitar-induced injury. Now, this is the type of headline that it takes a different approach, okay? But this could be used for the same product as this, boring headline, or this very exciting and enticing headline. I could use this for the same product, but this is a different kind of headline. Here it is where what we've got, the situation here is that we're giving them part of a story, just a little piece of it, and not relating the rest of it. In this example, we would have, they learned how to rip through those solos, and they were just shredding that guitar so much that they're just bleeding their fingers are bleeding because they're playing so hard. Well, the thing is, again, you got to be truthful. You can't just totally make up something. But in this particular case, you could what you'd want to use is a real story that tied into it, because you have to be able to relate to them something that is real. Otherwise, they're not going to really give you credibility, unless you are doing this in such a way that it is obviously meant as something humorous. Okay, but you don't want to concoct something that they would have a doubt about. If you do it in such a way that it's obvious that you're just messing around, then usually that's okay. But the thing is, when in this example, I haven't related the whole story to them. So if I'm a guitarist, and obviously if I'm somebody who's wanting to learn how to play the guitar, when I read this headline, I am going to read that body copy. I mean, no doubt about it. So don't give them the full story. You're wanting to give them just enough that they absolutely have to, continue to read. They've got to read the rest of it. Another trick in headlines is to make a promise. And if you can make a promise that they really, really want to hear, that in itself, simplicity sometimes is all that it takes. For example, gain 15 pounds of muscle in 21 days. That cuts right to the chase. It tells them exactly what they want to hear. And I've used specifics here. Notice, I said 15 pounds and 21 days. You do not ever want to be vague about information like this. And again, you want to use factual information, but you don't want to be vague. Like, for example, you wouldn't want to say, gain almost 20 pounds of muscle in less than a month. That's not credible to people. They want to see specifics. Get rid of acne problems forever. If you have a product that can do this, then a lot of times an effective headline is simply relating directly the solution. And it's just, it doesn't get any easier than that. Just tell them exactly what it's going to do for them. Make it positive. One thing you don't want to do is tell them something that they don't want to hear. Like, for example, that they're making a mistake, that they're doing something wrong, and you want to help them. So, in other words, this one right here, 7 guitar mistakes you are making that ruin your solos. That, a lot of times, is something that is not appealing to someone. They don't want you to tell them that they are making these mistakes. What they would really like to see is something like this. The 7 mistakes most guitarists make and how you can take your solos to the next level. See how we're positive with this? Not assuming that they are making the mistakes. We want to leave that question up to them. You could even use something, like, are you making these 7 common guitar mistakes? So if you approach it from that standpoint, then you're not doing it in a negative way. You're giving them the opportunity to answer that question themselves. So don't accuse them that they are doing something wrong. Give them the opportunity to make that decision.